Hey everybody, welcome to Hockeybar. It is the 6th of February, it's a Wednesday, and it's a nice one out there for those in the Midwest region, like myself. But we can still talk about hockey, why don't we? So, first in the news is a kind of big thing that happened last night with the Capitals. Their captain, the Great Eight, Alex Ovechkin, now holds the record for the most points scored out of all Russian-born players. So, he's technically the best Russian player to ever put on the skates now. He passed Sergei Fedorov, who had 1,179. He played for the Red Wings, Ducks, Caps to end his career, so how appropriate. They played together at one point. So now Ovechkin has 1 point. He got an assist yesterday against Vancouver, so now he leads in that. It's just another milestone out of hundreds that he has to his name. I remember reading a quote from Kuznetsov. He was saying that this milestone meant a lot to Ovechkin because it's been a couple weeks since he passed one. So that was kind of a funny quote. I felt like I should include it. Okay, and then next in the news, there's a bit of trading going on today in the NHL. Brian Boyle, who's been playing for the Devils, was now traded to the Predators in exchange for a draft pick. The Devils are now getting the second-round draft pick in 2019. So that's this coming June. And it is probably actually a good pick because it's probably, depending on how well the Predators do, they're very high in the conference, in the league too. That pick could actually be very helpful. They might be able to get probably 1 to like 5 or 1 or 5th pick. Between 1 to 5, I would probably say, is where they're finishing this season. They're one of the best teams. So that draft pick is actually kind of important because the draft, if you don't know, goes backwards. So the worst team drafts first in the first round, and then the best team drafts first in the second round, and then vice versa as the rounds continue from 1 through 7. So this is actually a pretty big pick for them. The problem I see, though, is the Devils are trading Brian Boyle, who's one of their better scorers. So as we know, the Devils aren't in the greatest place in the league right now. So I don't know if they're trying to lose for Hughes or anything. They're definitely setting themselves up at this point. I don't know if it's a shot in the foot to trade Boyle away, but I know the Predators are probably going to appreciate him because he's a good forward. They can probably add to any line they really want, and he'll probably do fine. So I don't know what the Devils are doing right now. I don't know what to expect from them for the rest of the season, but I know this is not the biggest hit they could take, but certainly is something they did that I don't know if it'll alter the future or not. And now moving on, we got an injury report. Looks like Matt Murray of the Penguins is going to be injured again. He just returned from a concussion injury like a month or 2 ago. So this is not the best timing, considering the end of the season is a couple months away. And he's their starter, obviously. So he didn't practice today, but he played yesterday against the Hurricanes. They got shut out. Wasn't the best performance by Murray at any means. So I don't know. It didn't look like he got injured in that game, but apparently he did. So another problem is it looks like Malkin's still injured. So having Murray your starting goalie and Malkin one of your best forwards out, not the best. So Penguins probably need to figure something out. Deal with the injuries as quick as they can. Obviously can't do anything if they're injured, but appointing the guys and putting them in the right position. Because I don't think Casey DeSmith, their backup goalie, is too bad, so they could put him in and fill the gap until Murray gets back. So there's no real problem in that. Malkin obviously is a big quintessential part of the offense, but it's kind of picked up because they've got guys like Getzel and Crosby. So the holes are filled. And now, speaking about the Stadium Series in a couple of weeks, it is announced that Keith Urban will be performing during the first intermission between the Flyers and Penguins on the 23rd of February. So just like how Weezer performed during the first intermission at the Winter Classic, it'll be the same thing with Keith Urban. I don't mind they having a musical guest. It is country music, if you're not aware of who Keith Urban is. My one complaint is it would make sense if they got an artist to play from Pennsylvania, where the game is being held and where both teams are from. I get that. Or just in general, a US or Canadian artist. If you don't know, Keith Urban is from New Zealand, so I don't know how much hockey is played in New Zealand. I know there's a lot of football and Australian rules football, and rugby, obviously. But I don't know how the hockey scene is. I know there's a bigger hockey scene in Kenya than there is in New Zealand, so I know he's kind of popular in the US, but they could have picked somebody else. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a critic here by any means, like I already have pretty much put myself on the pedestal for. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of having Keith Urban as the performer when they could have got a lot of good artists from the U.S. and Canada. And I'm not slighting Keith Urban. I don't think he's that bad of a musician. But you should probably get a better representative. So now after that, following up, we got one last trade to report, and this was Cody McLeod, was traded to the Predators today from the Rangers. So the Predators were pretty busy this morning, and the Rangers are going to receive a 7th round pick in 2020. So they're still a year away, and it's 7th round, so it's not as big. But McLeod is kind of a veteran player. He's been around the league for a long time, so he could be worthwhile. He could just be another guy on the roster. Who knows? I don't know how he's been playing in New York. He hasn't been very. I think he has 1 goal this season. I looked up, so he's not been a huge part of the Rangers, but he's definitely been on the team. I can say that. And now moving on, we're talking about the Rangers already. We're moving on to a original 6 match. You know, those are always fun to watch. There's a lot of passion and rivalry in those. It's also going to be the Wednesday night hockey game on NBC Sports Network. So kind of a big game. It's going to be fun to watch between the Bruins and Rangers. So the Bruins obviously are one of the better teams in the Atlantic Division and in the Eastern Conference, but they're not the best. Yesterday they had a little bit of morale going. Patrice Bergeron played his 1,000th game, so congrats to him. And the Rangers had a couple of roster moves today with trading. So the Rangers are probably going to change it up a little bit. Lundqvist is probably going to be in net. That's who's projected. And Halleck is supposed to be in net for the Bruins. So goaltending-wise, I think the Rangers have the edge. But offense and defense, Bruins definitely. So if I predict, I would have to say probably the Bruins are going to come up on top. But you know, there's a lot of passion in these rivalries, so it could be interesting, definitely. I can see the game probably being either high or low scoring. I can't put a price tag on any of these, but it's probably going to be close, and if it is, it's going to be low scoring. But anything can happen. This is hockey. You can score 7 goals one night and then score 1 the next or none. So we'll see how that plays out. And now moving on to stats, we can see Nikita Kucherov got a assist last night, so now he has 81 points and 59 assists this season. Alex Ovechkin, as we previously talked about, he got an assist yesterday, but no goals. So he's still sitting at 37 very comfortably. And then Mark Giordano, along with a lot of other Flames players, he's leading the very top at plus 30 with plus minus. And then over to goalie stats, we have Robin Lehner of the Islanders still sitting at a 2 goals against average. But now we see Jack Campbell has passed him in save percentage. He's at a 93.3. He's the Kings' backup goalie, so he doesn't get as much playing time as Johnny Quick. But when he does, it looks like he's doing very good. Now, Marc-Andre Fleury got a win yesterday over the Lightning, so that was very important, considering the Lightning has been on a roll. And Vegas is really trying to get up to the top of their conference. So he's got 28 wins now, 6 shutouts, hasn't changed, but he's obviously still one of the best goaltenders in the league. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I hope the day went well. If you're not subscribed already, do subscribe. We do this every day. It's a great show, and your support means a lot to us. So if you're new, subscribe, and we'd love to hear from you on Twitter and YouTube. Links are on our channel. So I want to thank you guys for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time.